Hey y'all, Rowan here. Today I am going to be doing a video response to Fairlight Tarot's hashtag decks I can't put down. So I'm going to be talking about 5 decks, 2 Oracle and 3 Tarot, that I have not been able to put down since I got them, basically. So let's just kind of go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to start with Oracle because I've got less of those. So this might not be a surprise. The Wild Unknown Archetypes deck by Kim Krans. I am just absolutely obsessed with this deck. It is, let's hide the nipple. It is one of my favorite weird little guys. It's not little, but it is a weird guy. I find that I always get a very pokey reading with this deck. It always makes me feel like I'm really being called out. Even when I get positive cards, I feel like I'm being seen in a way that's almost a little bit uncomfortable. I love working with this deck with and without the guidebook. I thoroughly enjoy this deck. I know it's a burden to shuffle and carry around because of its round shape. A pocket version of this deck is going to be releasing the 1st of April. So if the size and unwieldiness of this deck has kept you from it in the past, then fret no more, my friend, for a version for you is around the corner. I thoroughly enjoy this deck. I work with it constantly. It doesn't pair well with a lot of decks visually, but functionally, it's just absolutely fantastic. I can't get enough of it, and it shows up in my tarot journal all the time. The box is battered. You can see there's, well, maybe you can't see, but there's definitely damage. There we go. There's damage all around it because I take it with me a lot. It gets shoved in my tote bag, my purse, etc. So that is the first deck that I cannot put down. The next one is the Poesis Oracle. I did not expect to love this one as much as I do. Part of it is the aesthetic experience. I can't lie about that. The matte gold gilding on the edge. Unfortunately, I don't know if this is a true rose petal or not, but it definitely gives rose petal to me. It's very powdery. Sticks together. So I don't love that about it, but I don't love that it sticks together, but I love how soft it feels to the touch. I love the experience of shuffling this deck. Let me see here. I love that so much. This deck is beautiful. I love the experience of using it, and I love the readings that I get. So this one is poignant but supportive. I find that even when it's giving me an aggressive message, it still doesn't hurt to get that message quite the same way that the Unknown Archetypes does. I don't turn to the poetry very often with this. I find the poetry to be hit or miss, quite frankly, and I don't mean any shade to Miss Megan King, who is the one who wrote the poetry. It's just not for me. I've got a friend who would absolutely love it. Like, my best friend would, if she worked with decks, she would absolutely adore the poetry of this deck, and it's got its people, and I'm not one of them. But I love everything about reading with it anyway. It pairs really well with some of my favorite decks. It pairs really well with just about anything is the thing. That's one of the reasons I gravitate towards it so often, is that just about any deck that I reach for, no matter what, I can pull this one out and it's going to look good with it. So that's the Poesis Oracle. As always, anytime I mention this deck, I will include the PDF to the poetry down below so that you don't have to use the website if you don't want to. Another deck that I have not been able to put down since I got is the Intuitive Night Goddess, and this is in part because I really love this deck and I enjoy reading with it, but it's also in part because of what I use it for. So I use this deck to communicate with my my matron deity, my patron deity, however you would say that. The primary deity that I work with, Hecate, I use this deck to communicate with her on full moons and new moons. So this deck gets pulled out a lot for that. And then when I just have like the desire to connect with that sort of energy on a daily basis, I pull this deck out. Like when I really feel like I want to get in touch with my inner dark goddess, like that's something. This is a deck that I will reach for. So thoroughly enjoy this deck. It shows up in my tarot journal a lot, and it pairs surprisingly well with the Wild Unknown Archetypes, which is another reason why I reach for it as often as I do. It does not shuffle well. I don't know if you noticed that. It shuffles really clunky. That is a mark against it, but I still love it anyways. If you shuffle it face up, if I shuffle it face up, I don't know if this is true of the other decks, but mine shuffles better face up rather than back up, and sometimes I forget that, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so annoying, but then when I just work with it the way it wants to be worked with, it doesn't give me nearly as much problem. So that's on me, quite frankly. But yeah, this one turns up in my tarot journal a lot. I thoroughly enjoy the collage. I enjoy the energy that it has. Like, it's got a feminine energy, but it doesn't feel like a feminine energy that is excluding masculinity. And I think that's something that I really enjoy about it. Like, there's not men in this deck, but it's not showing me traditionally beautiful women all the time as the goddesses. Like maybe they were, I don't know if this was ever considered like traditionally beautiful in any culture. May have been, probably was, but they're not traditionally beautiful by today's standards. Especially like the moon card. Oh, perfect timing, sweetie. The moon card, she's just so plain-faced, and I love that. She's not a beautiful moon. I'm going to consider, I mean, she's not. There's no actual signs of pockmarks, but I'm going to say that she's pockmarked, and that she has rosacea. That's not just blush, that's rosacea. Because the moon is pockmarked and blushing, and I love that. Like that is not a traditionally feminine looking woman or goddess. Really, this deck does not necessarily say that these are all women, they're all goddesses, which I guess isn't necessarily the same thing. But they're all feminine figures mixed with like these very, the baby face on the Ten of Swords. Like, here's a traditionally beautiful, like, that I can look at and say that's classically beautiful. And, like, I know that, like, a lot of ideas of traditional beauty are couched in culture. Abso-friggin-lutely. So, my perspective on it is heavily skewed by the culture that I grew up in. I've grown to absolutely love the expression on her face. I'm just showing you the entire deck at this point. Let me move on. Next, I would like to talk about the Tattoo Tarot Incan Intuition. This is a deck that I knew I was going to enjoy, but I did not expect to take to it as strongly as I have. Here are the backs, and here are the fronts. This deck has absolutely taken over my tarot journal, just completely. And I'm like not even sorry about it. I love this deck. I pair it with the Poesis Oracle. I pair it with the Outlaw Oracle, the Citadel. I sometimes work with it with the, oh goodness, what is it called? Untamed Elemental, the Untamed Elemental Oracle. Yeah, I love how flexible this deck is. I love the pips. I'm a huge fan of pip decks. I never thought that would be me, but here we are. I love me some pip decks. Yeah. Tattoo Tarot, Ink and Intuition. It is a, like, daily driver kind of deck for me if I could carry it around. A mini is apparently coming out. I might honestly buy it. I don't see the need to have multiple copies of the same deck in my collection, but I'm almost certainly going to buy the pocket size of the Wild Unknown Oracle, so Wild Unknown Archetypes Oracle. So I probably should go ahead and get a pocket size of this deck because it's one that I just pull out all the time. I didn't really talk about that one for very long because, like, I don't use it for any special function. I don't have any complex feelings about it. Like, it's just a really solid deck that reads really easily for me. I can sit with it for a long time and find meaning in the cards, even though they're pips. They're pips with feeling. And yeah, I love this deck. Can't recommend it enough. It's not excessively expensive. It's very affordable, actually. Tattoo Tarot, Ink and Intuition. Now, the last deck that I want to talk about today is one that has come into my collection very, very recently. So recently, in fact, today. It came into my collection today, and that's the Star Power Tarot. But I have been immediately struck with love for this deck. This is the first deck that I have ever owned where the guidebook is small. It's not a lot. It's just a little leaflet, basically. This is a chick track in size. There's not much here, but there is a lot in the cards. There's a lot in the cards, and so while I don't understand all of the symbolism that's in here, there is a lot of it. I don't understand all of the choices, but I immediately wanted to go through this deck card by card with the guidebook, and so I did. I read the entire guidebook with all of the cards, and I thoroughly enjoy the Six Sad Girls take on this deck, on the tarot. This deck's take on the tarot. The interpretations for some of these cards are ones that really fit the energy, but are not ones I ever would have come up with on my own. So I'm thankful for that. It's already given me a new perspective on a lot of cards, and I already feel a connection to this deck. I've done a quick reading with it just to get to know it, like a spread interview. I don't usually do those either, so I guess this deck has really struck me because it's made me want to use it in ways I don't normally use it. And it in the spread interview, when I asked it what its energy was, how it best worked, it gave me the Magician, Jack of all trades, Master of none energy. Well, I guess Jack of all trades, Master of one, and that's entertainment. This deck is absolutely entertaining. I love it. I love it so much already. I'm so excited to work with it. I haven't felt this called to have a deck in my hands since probably the Zeke's Arcana came into my collection. I haven't... that's a deck that I don't work with a lot because it's a little bit on the fragile side, but the Zeke's Arcana is one of my all-time favorite decks. It's definitely got some of my favorite artwork, and this one immediately gave me the same feeling as when I first got my hands on the Zeke's Arcana. It gave me that feeling of, oh my goodness, this is something special. This is something that's resonating with me. This is something that is opening my eyes to some degree. and I'm in love with it. I'm definitely going to be doing a more in-depth video on this deck. I've got several deck-specific videos coming up that I want to do, and this is one of them. I also want to do a deck-specific video on the erotic tarot, so expect a video on that one. If there are any decks in my collection that you would like to see a dedicated video on, like where I go through card by card, talk about the guidebook, talk about pairings that I use it with, and perhaps even give like a couple of demonstration readings with it, like let me know if there are any in my collection that you'd like me to do that with. I absolutely will. And thank you so much for hanging out. Here, let's put all the decks together so that we can marvel at the 5 decks that I can't put down, because they're beautiful and we should marvel at them. Aren't they so cute together? Ugh. Yeah, sorry for the harsh lighting. I'm filming at night because I'm stubborn, and I spent the entire day fighting with myself and putting off making this video. I put off doing any sort of accomplishing task today. Apparently what I needed to do was fart around and do nothing. So that's exactly what I did. And now we're filming at 10:30 at night. So that's just the way things go sometimes. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I greatly appreciate it if you made it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, please do like this video. If you have some decks that you cannot put down, please feel free to share them down below. If you have any of these decks and you have alternative feelings to mine, let me know. I would love to hear from you in any way, shape, or form. Comments warm my little heart like I am sitting by a fire around Thanksgiving time. That's a very specific feeling from my childhood, and I mean that. I would also really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. Check out some of the other videos that I've made. I don't know, maybe you would like to hang out a little bit longer, and we could do that. We could arrange that. There's videos. There's more content. Don't you worry. All right. Thank you again for visiting me today and listening to me prattle. Mwah! I love you. Bye.